Have you noticed certain changes in yourself or a loved one and wondered, is this just part of aging? Today, we're uncovering the real, often unspoken changes that come with growing older. Some may feel uncomfortable to hear, but they're important, and you're not alone. Stick with me, this might just change how you see aging forever. Welcome to Life Advice for Elders Haven, where we talk openly about aging with honesty, compassion, and a touch of wisdom. In this video, we'll dive into 12 surprising, often frustrating things seniors experience as they age. These aren't to criticize. They're here to help you understand, cope, and support yourself or someone you love through the aging process. Let's be honest, aging isn't all sunsets and slow strolls. Sometimes it's confusing, lonely, even a little scary. You might feel your body slowing down, your memory slipping, or your relationship shifting. You might wonder, is this normal? Is it just me? The truth is, these changes happen to many people, but no one really talks about them. That silence can feel isolating. So today, let's break that silence together. 1. Withdrawing socially. As we grow older, something subtle but powerful can start to happen. We begin to withdraw socially. It doesn't always happen all at once. Sometimes it's gradual. A friend moves away, another passes on. The family gets busy with their own lives. Suddenly, your once busy calendar starts to empty and the silence around you grows louder. You might start to decline invitations, not because you don't want to go, but because it feels like too much effort. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're dealing with aches and pains. Or maybe it just feels like you don't quite fit in anymore. You might even tell yourself, I'm fine being alone, and sometimes you truly are. But other times, that solitude quietly turns into isolation. The truth is, social withdrawal isn't just about being introverted or needing time to yourself. It can be a sign of depression, cognitive decline, hearing loss, or even just feeling forgotten. And while alone time can be peaceful, too much of it can harm your emotional and physical health. Studies show that prolonged isolation can lead to memory loss, weakened immunity, increased risk of heart disease, and faster mental decline. But here's the good news. You don't need to make a huge leap to reconnect. Start small. Call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Join a local club or community center activity. Even just chatting with a neighbor on your daily walk can lift your spirit more than you'd expect. If getting out is too difficult, consider virtual meetups or scheduled phone calls. There are even programs that match seniors with volunteers for regular conversations. And if you're the loved one of someone who's withdrawing, approach gently. Don't criticize, invite. Don't push, encourage. The goal is to remind them that they're not alone and that their presence still matters deeply. Remember, staying connected isn't about being social all the time. It's about feeling seen, heard, and valued. And no matter your age, that's something you still deserve every single day. 2. Neglecting personal hygiene. This may be one of the most misunderstood and unspoken signs of aging, neglecting personal hygiene. For many seniors, daily tasks that once seemed automatic, brushing your teeth, showering, changing clothes, can slowly begin to feel like monumental efforts. And when those tasks start to slip, it's easy for others to jump to conclusions. But here's the truth, this isn't laziness. It's often a silent cry for help. As we age, physical challenges increase. Stiff joints, chronic pain, arthritis, or balance issues can make bathing not just uncomfortable, but downright dangerous. The fear of slipping in the shower, struggling to get dressed, or bending down to put on socks becomes very real. So sometimes it feels easier to skip it altogether. But it's not just physical. Mental health plays a huge role. When someone is feeling depressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, self-care can fall to the bottom of the list. Hygiene, in those moments, doesn't feel like a priority. It feels pointless. Some seniors may also be experiencing early signs of cognitive decline or dementia, which can cause them to simply forget or lose track of the routine. There's also a deeper emotional layer. What's the point of getting dressed up if you're not going anywhere or seeing anyone? When social interaction dwindles, motivation to care for oneself often goes with it. What used to be a reason to feel fresh and put together may now feel irrelevant. So if you're struggling with hygiene, or if you notice this in a loved one, please know you're not alone and you're not failing. Sometimes all it takes is a little support. Simple changes like installing safety bars in the bathroom, using no-rinse body wipes, switching to easy-to-wear clothing, or setting gentle hygiene reminders can make a big difference. And if you're the one offering help, do so with kindness, not criticism. Approach the conversation with dignity and empathy. Say things like, "How can I make this easier for you?" instead of, "Why didn't you shower today?" Your self-worth doesn't diminish with age, and your care for yourself shouldn't either. Hygiene is more than just cleanliness. It's about comfort, dignity, and well-being, and you deserve every bit of that. 3. Becoming more stubborn. Let's face it, none of us enjoy being told what to do. That doesn't change as we age. In fact, for many seniors, the instinct to resist advice or help only grows stronger. To others, it might look like being difficult or stubborn, but there's often a deeper emotional truth behind this behavior. Aging can feel like a gradual erosion of independence. One day you're driving to the store, the next someone's telling you it's time to give up the keys. Decisions about your home, your health, even your daily routine start to slip out of your hands, and that can feel deeply unsettling. Saying no, even to something helpful, becomes a way to hold on to a sense of control. It's important to realize stubbornness is often a form of self-protection. When a senior insists on doing things their way, it may be because they're trying to preserve their identity. The routines they cling to, the choices they insist on, these are not random. They're ways of asserting, "I still matter, I'm still capable, my voice counts." In some cases, this resistance also stems from fear. Fear of change, fear of becoming a burden, fear of losing dignity. When someone says, "I don't need help," what they may really mean is, "I'm scared of what needing help says about me." For loved ones and caregivers, this can be incredibly frustrating. But understanding the why behind the stubbornness can turn conflict into compassion. Instead of forcing change, try inviting conversation. Ask questions like, "What worries you about this?" Or, "How can we do this in a way that feels comfortable for you?" Empowering a senior to make choices, no matter how small, can go a long way in easing their resistance. And if you're the one feeling the urge to push back on advice or suggestions, pause and ask yourself, am I saying no to the idea or to the feeling of being powerless? Recognizing that difference can help you stay open to support while still honoring your autonomy. Stubbornness isn't about being difficult. It's about protecting what makes us feel safe, respected, and in control. And that's something we all deserve, at any age. 4. Repeating themselves. You've probably heard it before. The same story, the same question, the same memory, sometimes within minutes, sometimes multiple times a day. For those on the receiving end, it might feel frustrating. But for the senior repeating themselves, it's often something much deeper than forgetfulness. It can be a window into how the aging brain is working and what it needs. As we grow older, cognitive changes are a natural part of life. The brain processes slower, memory retrieval isn't as sharp, and new information may not stick as easily. Short-term memory, like what day it is or whether a question was already asked, can begin to fade. So when a senior repeats a question or shares a familiar story over and over, it's often because they genuinely don't remember telling it before. But there's something else happening too. Repetition brings comfort. The stories they remember well are often rooted in strong emotions, love, pride, adventure, or even pain that shaped them. Sharing these stories again and again is their way of staying connected to who they are. It gives them a sense of familiarity in a world that might now feel confusing or fast-moving. In some cases, this behavior can be an early sign of mild cognitive impairment or dementia, but it doesn't always mean there's something wrong. Sometimes the brain is simply seeking reassurance, routine, or connection. So what can we do? Patience is key. Respond with kindness, not correction. Gently answer the question as if it's the first time. Listen to the story like it's brand new, even if you've heard it 50 times. For the person sharing it, it may feel like the first time they've ever spoken it aloud. And if you're the one catching yourself repeating things, give yourself grace. This isn't a flaw, it's part of being human. Keep your mind active with puzzles, reading, social interaction, and movement. These habits can help keep memory sharper for longer. Remember, behind every repeated phrase is a person longing to feel seen, heard, and understood. Sometimes the best gift we can give is simply to listen again, with love. 5. Oversharing personal details. Have you ever been in a conversation, maybe at a family dinner, a doctor's office, or even standing in line at the grocery store, when suddenly a deeply personal story spills out? Details about finances, medical issues, old family conflicts, or even intimate regrets come pouring out, unfiltered and unexpected. For many seniors, this oversharing of personal details isn't about making others uncomfortable. It's often about two things: a loosening of social filters and a deep need to be heard. As we age, the brain's ability to regulate social boundaries can change, especially in the frontal lobe, which governs judgment and impulse control. This doesn't mean someone is losing it. It simply means the mental brakes that once kept certain thoughts from being spoken aloud may not be working the same way anymore. What feels inappropriate to younger people might feel completely natural or necessary to someone older. But oversharing isn't just neurological. Often it reflects something deeper, the need to process the past, to feel acknowledged, to unburden. As the years accumulate, so do life experiences, both joyful and painful. And sometimes there's a strong internal push to make sense of it all while there's still time. Talking it out even to a stranger can bring relief. What may seem like too much information might actually be a moment of vulnerability, a chance to connect, or even a way to say, "This is who I am. This is what I've lived through. Please see me." If you're a senior and find yourself oversharing, be gentle with yourself. You've lived a rich life. It's only natural to want to reflect on it. Maybe write your stories down, share them in a journal, or record them for future generations. There are powerful, healthy ways to be heard. And if you're on the receiving end of the oversharing, try to listen without judgment. Offer your presence, not just your patience. You don't always have to fix or steer the conversation. Just witnessing it can be enough. Because at the heart of every overshare is a story waiting to be valued. And every story matters. 6. Becoming suspicious or paranoid. It can be startling when someone you've known for years suddenly starts accusing others of stealing, hiding things, or talking behind their back. A misplaced wallet becomes a sign of theft. A neighbor's glance feels threatening. Even family members may come under suspicion for things they'd never do. What's happening? This rise in suspicion or paranoia is not uncommon in aging, and it's rarely about distrust alone. Instead, it's often rooted in changes happening within the brain, especially when conditions like mild cognitive impairment, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease are involved. As memory fades or becomes fragmented, the brain tries to make sense of the gaps. If someone forgets where they put something, they might genuinely believe someone else moved it. If they can't follow a conversation or interpret social cues like they used to, they might feel excluded or targeted. It's not malice, it's fear and confusion masked as defensiveness. Hearing loss and vision problems can also contribute. When the world becomes harder to interpret clearly, it's easier for the mind to fill in the blanks with worst-case scenarios. Add loneliness or a loss of routine, and the emotional strain only grows. Paranoia becomes a way to explain the discomfort they can't quite name. If you're experiencing these feelings, know that you're not broken. You're navigating a changing mental landscape, and it's okay to ask for help. Talking to a trusted doctor, counselor, or even a friend can bring immense relief and clarity. There may be treatments or coping tools that can help you feel more grounded and safe. For loved ones or caregivers, try not to argue or correct too forcefully. Instead, validate the feelings, even if the facts aren't accurate. Gently redirect the conversation. Create calm, predictable environments. Keep daily routines consistent, label items, and make sure basic needs like medication, hydration, and rest are being met. Paranoia doesn't mean someone is losing it. It often means they're trying to make sense of a world that no longer feels familiar. What they need most is not confrontation, but comfort, consistency, and compassion. 7. Losing interest in hobbies or passions. There was a time when the days felt too short. Gardening, painting, knitting, reading, golfing, volunteering. The list of hobbies seemed endless. These passions weren't just things to pass the time, they were part of who you were. But for many seniors somewhere along the way, that spark begins to fade. What once brought joy now feels distant. The tools sit unused, the garden grows wild, the books gather dust. Losing interest in hobbies is a quiet shift that can signal deeper changes. Sometimes it's due to physical limitations. Arthritis in the hands makes it hard to crochet, vision changes make reading frustrating, or chronic fatigue makes once energizing activities feel like a chore. But more often, the loss is emotional. Depression, grief, loneliness, or a sense of purposelessness can all drain motivation. When you've retired from a career, lost loved ones, or feel disconnected from your community, it's natural to ask, what's the point? Slowly, the things that used to light you up stop calling to you. This isn't laziness or giving up, it's a sign that something within is craving reconnection, perhaps with others, or maybe with a deeper sense of meaning. If this sounds familiar, know this: you're not alone, and your joy isn't gone forever. Sometimes it just needs to be rediscovered in a new way. Maybe you can't garden like you used to, but could you teach someone else? Maybe reading is harder, but could audiobooks bring those stories to life again? Maybe you no longer want to paint alone, but would a weekly art class or group make it feel exciting again? If you're caring for someone who's lost interest in their passions, gently encourage, don't push. Ask questions like, what did you used to love doing? Or, would you want to try this together? Sometimes, all it takes is knowing someone else cares enough to invite you back into life. Your passions may change form with age, but the capacity to feel joy, purpose, and creativity never has to disappear. It just needs a little room to breathe again. 8. Speaking harshly or being blunt. You may have noticed it in yourself or in someone you love. Words come out faster, sharper, less filtered. Things that once would have stayed quietly tucked away are suddenly said aloud. Comments about someone's weight, appearance, finances, or life choices slip out without hesitation, and sometimes they land with a thud. As we age, it's common for seniors to become more blunt or direct, sometimes even unintentionally harsh. What used to be softened by politeness or social niceties can start to feel unnecessary or simply exhausting to maintain. After all, many older adults think, I've lived long enough to say what I feel. And in truth, there's wisdom in that honesty. Life experience often brings clarity. Seniors have been through decades of change, loss, growth, and learning. They've earned the right to speak their truth. But when that truth becomes cutting or critical, it's worth pausing to ask why. Sometimes neurological changes play a role. The frontal lobe, the area of the brain responsible for self-control and social behavior, can become less sharp with age. This can lead to more impulsive speech or difficulty recognizing how words affect others. Other times, the harshness is emotional. Frustration, grief, or fear, especially if unspoken, can surface as irritability. A senior who feels ignored, dismissed, or powerless may use blunt words to reclaim a sense of control or visibility. At least when I speak up, someone listens, even if it stings. If you find yourself becoming more blunt, consider asking, is what I'm about to say helpful or hurtful? Speaking honestly is powerful, but combining truth with kindness is even more so. If you feel frustration bubbling up, it might help to talk to someone safe, whether a friend, a therapist, or a trusted loved one. For caregivers and family, respond with understanding, not shame. Bluntness isn't always meant to wound. It may simply reflect someone trying to navigate a changing world with a voice that still wants to matter. Respect doesn't have to vanish with age. It can grow, and so can compassion, both in the words we speak and the way we choose to hear them. 9. Hoarding or holding on to junk. To someone looking in from the outside, it might just look like clutter. Old newspapers, broken appliances, stacks of plastic bags, dozens of margarine tubs or empty pill bottles. To others, it might seem like a stubborn refusal to let go or clean up. But for many seniors, holding on to things, even things that seem useless, is not about mess. It's about meaning. As we age, the world around us changes quickly. Friends pass away, physical abilities decline, and family members grow busy with their own lives. These losses can make a person feel like everything familiar is slowly slipping away. So what's left to hold on to? Stuff. Sometimes the items themselves carry emotional weight. A cracked mug from a late spouse, a yellowing birthday card, a dress from decades ago. These aren't junk. They're memories in physical form. Letting go of them can feel like erasing a part of oneself. Other times, hoarding reflects a need for control. When health, independence, or finances become uncertain, keeping possessions becomes a way to feel grounded. I might need this later isn't just an excuse, it's a reflection of real anxiety about the future. What if I can't afford to replace it? What if no one's there to help next time? In some cases, excessive accumulation may also be tied to cognitive decline or mental health challenges like depression or obsessive-compulsive tendencies. It's important not to shame or criticize someone for holding on, but instead to understand what's driving the behavior. If you or someone you love is struggling with this, start small. Don't demand a purge, start a conversation. Ask, tell me the story behind this, or what's most important for you to keep. Offer to help sort, not to judge. Create space where memories can be preserved, maybe through photos, scrapbooks, or keepsake boxes, without needing to keep everything. Holding on is often an act of love, memory, and fear rolled into one. With patience, we can help each other find ways to let go, not of meaning, but of what no longer serves us. 10. Eating too little or too much. Mealtimes change with age. Not just in what we eat, but how we feel about eating altogether. Some seniors begin eating far less than they used to, while others may eat far more. At first glance, it might seem like just a change in appetite, but often there's much more going on beneath the surface. Let's start with eating too little. Many older adults experience a noticeable drop in appetite. This can stem from slower metabolism, medication side effects, digestive changes, or a dulling of the senses. When food no longer smells or tastes appealing, mealtime can feel more like a chore than a joy. Dental issues, trouble swallowing, or pain while chewing can also make eating unpleasant. And sometimes, depression or loneliness leads to a silent loss of interest in meals altogether, especially when there's no one to share them with. On the flip side, some seniors begin to eat more than they need, especially comfort foods that are high in sugar, fat, or salt. This might be a response to emotional needs. Food can temporarily soothe anxiety, fill the gap left by social isolation, or offer a sense of control when other parts of life feel uncertain. In dementia or Alzheimer's, the ability to regulate hunger cues can also be impaired, leading to frequent snacking or forgetting they've already eaten. Whether it's too much or too little, changes in eating habits can affect health dramatically. Malnutrition, weight gain, diabetes, heart issues, and weakened immune systems can all be consequences of imbalanced eating. If you notice these shifts in yourself or a loved one, take it seriously, but approach it with compassion, not judgment. Try to identify the root cause. Is it physical pain, emotional stress, medication side effects? Could it be as simple as meals feeling too lonely? Solutions don't have to be complex. Smaller, more frequent meals, meal companions, flavor-enhancing herbs, or soft, nutrient-dense foods can make a big difference. And for emotional eating or disinterest in food, sometimes the best remedy is connection, sharing a meal with someone who listens. Food isn't just fuel, it's memory, comfort, and care. How we eat in later life says a lot about how we feel. Let's pay attention. 11. Becoming fixated on the past. It's natural for all of us to look back on the past and reminisce about the good old days, the memories of youth, accomplishments, friends, and loved ones. But for some seniors, the past starts to overshadow the present, and it becomes harder to live in the moment. They might talk about the way things used to be constantly, often bringing up past successes, old relationships, or a time when everything felt simpler. This fixation on the past can seem harmless at first. After all, memories are a huge part of who we are. However, when the past begins to dominate conversations or behaviors, it can signal unresolved grief, depression, or a longing for a time that feels more comfortable and familiar. As we age, losses accumulate. The loss of friends, family, independence, or even the ability to do things we once loved. These emotional and physical changes can create a longing for the days when things felt more stable or more predictable. For some, holding on to the past can be a coping mechanism. The familiar is comforting. When the present feels confusing, uncertain, or overwhelming, the past provides a refuge. It might be a way of clinging to a time when they felt more in control or more valued. Unfortunately, when the past is glorified or seen as better than the present, it can lead to feelings of disappointment and resentment. While reminiscing can be therapeutic, helping to preserve one's identity and celebrate accomplishments, there's a fine line between healthy reflection and unhealthy fixation. If someone becomes so fixated on the past that it prevents them from enjoying or engaging in the present, it's a sign that they might need support in processing those feelings of loss. To help someone move forward, try to create new memories together. Gently encourage them to share their thoughts and emotions about the present. Ask them what brings them joy today. Encourage small, meaningful activities that connect them to the here and now. Balance the past with the present and remind them that the future is still a space for new experiences, no matter how small. While the past shapes us, the present is where we still have the power to grow and change. 12. Fearing death or becoming obsessed with it. As we grow older, the reality of our own mortality becomes more apparent. For many seniors, thoughts about death can become more frequent and at times even overwhelming. It's natural to reflect on the finite nature of life, but for some, this preoccupation with death can become an obsession that interferes with their quality of life and relationships. There are many reasons why this happens. Health issues, the loss of loved ones, or the decline in physical abilities often bring death to the forefront of the mind. As we witness others around us aging or passing away, it's a stark reminder of our own eventual fate. This can lead to feelings of fear, anxiety, and sadness. In some cases, this fear can escalate into avoidance of certain situations, like talking about death, attending funerals, or even enjoying life fully. because it brings up the uncomfortable reality of life's impermanence. Fear of death is often tied to the unknown, what happens after we're gone, how we will be remembered, or whether we have done enough with our lives. Seniors may find themselves dwelling on whether they've fulfilled their purpose or if there's more they should have achieved. This sense of unfinished business can create emotional turbulence, preventing someone from embracing the moments they still have left. However, becoming obsessed with death can have a negative impact on mental health, leading to depression, anxiety, and social withdrawal. Instead of enjoying the remaining time, the focus shifts to fear and dread, which can prevent someone from living fully. If you or someone you care about is struggling with this obsession, it's important to acknowledge the emotions without judgment. Talking openly about death, either with a counselor, a spiritual advisor, or trusted friends and family, can help alleviate the fear and open up space for acceptance. Focusing on the present moment, whether it's finding joy in simple pleasures, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in hobbies, can also shift the attention away from inevitable endings and toward meaningful living. Seniors can often find comfort in their spiritual beliefs or in creating a legacy through storytelling, volunteering, or sharing wisdom with younger generations. Remember, it's normal to think about death, but it shouldn't overshadow the joy and fulfillment that life still has to offer. We don't need to live in fear of death to live a life of purpose and meaning. Have you noticed any of these changes in yourself or someone close to you? You're not alone, and there's no shame in it. These changes are part of the journey, but they don't define your worth or your future. Let's open up the conversation. Drop a comment below. Which of these felt familiar to you? Or is there something we missed? If this video spoke to you, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We release weekly videos that speak directly to your life, your heart, and your wisdom. Aging can be messy, but it's also full of meaning. These years can still be rich with connection, love, learning, and growth. You are not less, you are more. Thanks for spending this time with me. Until next time, stay wise, stay joyful, and never stop being curious about life.